So Tim, back at the Monona Terrace, we were at just a great event here locally, kind of getting schools up and educated. Last week, I had the opportunity to participate in an executive event out in Arizona.
Yeah, how'd that go?
Actually, it was quite thought provoking, and it was really talking about sort of changes in sort of thought leadership around information technology. I'll even qualify that more to just kind of technology.
Yeah.
And so, what they kind of described as this phenomenon is, CIOs are really being sort of challenged by their business leaders to understand the business and make an impact to sort of, the forward effort.
Right.
And not just sort of, care for the assets, that are running inside of the business.
Well, how many times do we see that?
Correct.
The CIO level is really the IT operations manager in the organization.
And it's a big job and a big task because that stuff's complicated and every day it's riddled with trouble, and it's hard for them to really spend the time or get the focus to invest with the business leaders and sort of understand what needs to be done. And more importantly, and I want to make sure I circle back to the distinction, but when I said information technology and I break it off to technology, the concept is that how do we take technology and create a competitive advantage for whatever the organization is?
Yeah.
Because there are a lot of disruptors out there.
Technology disruptors.
Correct.
Yeah. What's great about that, Brian, is it's kind of what you and I really like to do, and we like to engage with organizations at that level. I mean, many organizations, like we said, struggle moving their IT operations manager into that executive suite.
Yeah.
And primarily because they're not there to create vision for the organization.
Correct.
I love the word disruptors.
And what you're seeing is, and I think what CEOs are seeing, by the way, is they're seeing full industries that get disrupted by some sort of technological variant that someone grabbed a hold of and revolutionized a space. And so, they know they have to watch, they know they have to look, and they know they have to think about technology in a different way because they know their non-traditional competitors and traditional competitors are.
Yeah. And part of that is how, what a lot of our organizations have done is they've worked really hard to use technology to gain efficiency. Mm-hmm. What not a lot have always done is looked at technology to gain innovation.
Correct.
And I think that's the difference when you start moving into that C-suite level.
Mm-hmm.
Create vision, interact at the executive tier to innovate within the organization.
Agreed, and it really is it's the art of communication, right? So, you get in, you sort of understand what an organization's trying to accomplish, and then so what in the technology spectrum that's here and coming, can really influence that in a very powerful way. And then how do you talk to somebody about that, get it communicated, create understanding so people get comfortable with where they're going to take their companies.
Yeah. I think it's one of the great ways that you and I can share our expertise that we've gleaned by working with how many thousands of clients over the years.
Correct.
And the nice part about that is it doesn't require somebody to engage a full-time resource, invest in that within their organization. They can engage you and I on a part-time basis. I mean, we run those types of relationships consistently. Correct. Allocating 8, 12 hours a week to being a resource within the organization.
That's right. And one of the things that we bring, we're owners of businesses. We've consulted on how many businesses, to your point, seen so many different angles and applications of technology that, it doesn't mean we know all the answers, but it sure means we understand kind of what tools are in the bag to grab.
Right.
So I think it's a couple of things. I think one.
Hey, write these down for me so I remember them.
I think what we have to do is we have to first understand the vision. So what a company's trying to go accomplish, and then sort of how does technology impact that, and then we have to create that vision. Okay. And then once we've created that vision, well, then we have to communicate it and educate around it. So we've got to be able to sit down, with an executive and even potentially a board, which we've certainly done from time to time, and we said, okay, here's what's potential to happen, and so the art of executive communication. Okay, and I think if we do those two things, now we've got people with sort of a baseline of, okay, they know where to go, they kind of know what to do, they sort of know where they want to move to, and now you got to kind of mobilize the organization and prepare it to change. Because one thing we know technology does is it creates change at the end user level, and it can permeate the entire organization, including customer ecosystem.
Right.
And so really the process of bringing that change into an organization and making that technology impact stick and try to get the value.
Well, and using it as an innovator as well, right? And
Correct.
making innovative change, I think, is what's lacking in many
Yeah,
organizations.
innovation change, that's a great way to say it, because that's what we're looking to do. There's lots of change for efficiency's sake. This is innovative change.
Right.
How are we going to stay relevant, and maybe even how are we going to best our competition?
Yeah.
So I think that's a big deal.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, think those 3 talking points, and that's just a great kind of wrapper around an executive tier service.
Yeah.
Many organizations are lacking. It can be easily provided.
Yeah, excellent. Well, fantastic. Well,
What do you think of this wine?
I think it's pretty good, and we're going through it. Cheers.